Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Royale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah. I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, you're listening to Superhero Speak. Now I'm your host, Dave.
I'm John.
I'm JD and okay.
You're always okay.
I'm pretty mediocre.
Mediocre.
So first off, let me apologize for there not being a show last week. That was mostly my fault.
Well, it was technical difficulties compounded by like my having to suddenly rush off to Connecticut and JD's getting stuff done before Thanksgiving, and basically it's holiday crazy.
Well,
so
it's because I was having technical difficulties. You had emergency run to Connecticut. JD actually was working.
Yeah, I got paid for what I was doing.
I think that's a little more important than our nonsense. So speaking of that means that the Turkey Day has come and gone since we all last spoke. And how was everyone's Thanksgiving?
Pretty good, actually. Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. There was only like one family crisis and one major argument. So yeah, pretty good actually.
Yeah, we were crisisless, and the 2-year-old was playing.
That was karma coming back. you might as well have said that you were 2 days from retirement, man.
You're no kidding. No kidding. I just Danny Glovered myself. No, I gotta say the 2-year-old was playing with his 3 and 4-year-old cousins, so it was a good day.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I had a good Thanksgiving. You know, went to my mother-in-law's like I do every year. Had a big crowd, and my mother-in-law actually made 2 turkeys. So there was an insane amount of food, but we all enjoyed ourselves.
My uncle does that too.
I like the idea of a backup turkey.
My uncle does one turkey normal in the oven, and then he puts another one on the grill, like just the breast, and grills a turkey, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
grilled turkey breast.
My mother-in-law wasn't sure if there was enough. That's why, like, she had a 20-pounder, and then she ended up getting a smaller one just in case, and of course, made both. There was only half a turkey left, so might have been a good move on her part.
She knows the family.
Yes. Yeah. It's her Super Bowl, She gets ready for it every year. It's the big event in our family, so.
Well, this year my sister did not wrap everything in bacon, so I was kind of disappointed with that.
I was about to say that just ruined it.
We had one year where everything smelled like bacon. When I went home and opened up my what do you call it, the luggage, everything, all my old clothes smelled like bacon. Everything smelled like bacon. It was that bad, or that good, So.
I think I'd rather smell bacon than eat bacon. But I mean, like, the smell of bacon is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to do both, please. So yeah, everyone had a good Thanksgiving. That's good to hear. And you're having fun in the snow, JD?
Yeah, we got hit with a blizzard in Chicago, and I bought a snowblower, and it broke 15 minutes in. So after the show, I have to go back to Lowe's and return the snowblower and spend money on a real one.
So
Not
wait,
be a cheap ass.
You bought one and it broke, and now you have to go out and shovel?
Oh, that's not going to happen. I'm going to go get another snowblower. It's the disadvantage to not living in the town you coach in, because I can't even get kids to come over and do it for me. I have to take care of this on my own.
Jeez.
Sounds like
bullshit, man.
You sounds like you need to move.
Oh, I'm trying. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Nah, we've only had one snowstorm so far this year, and it rained right afterwards, so there was really nothing to deal with. So we've been lucky, right, John?
Well, except for the fact that it's rained every week
my God,
over the entire spring, summer, and now fall. I still have leaves on my freaking lawn, and I can't get them off because every time I think it's just about dry enough to go out, it rains again. My whole yard is literally quicksand. It's ridiculous.
I wonder what a snowblower would do to leaves.
Well, that's the problem. I don't want to find out.
Leaves on Lawn. Wasn't that a Walt Whitman poem?
I believe so.
Oh, believe. Ha, ha, ha.
Cool. So GD, do you have anything else you want to tell our listeners?
As a matter of fact, I do. Last week, after about 2 months of production, we finally came out with the audiobook version of my novel Hawk Hollow, which is the original version, which can be read for free, available on our website, superheroespeak.com. And the link for the Audible or Amazon, or however you want to refer to it, audiobook version will be posted on our site. So if you want to check that out, I'm actually really proud of it. The narrator, Andre Chapoy, dinner got stuffed. Andre Chapoy did a fantastic job bringing our characters to life. And it's a short listen. It's only 6 hours, which is pretty short for an audiobook. Yeah. So I mean, it's something pretty cool. Maybe looking for something for that Cyber Monday week. Maybe looking for something for the holidays, something to gift to somebody. May I recommend an Audible subscription and a good book?
There you go. Yes, and definitely the link will be in the description of the episode, so make sure you guys go check it out. And speaking of that, I just want to make sure, because everyone's episode might be their first episode. Don't forget to check us out every week at superheroespeak.com. Every day, check us out because we've been having daily updates from Comic Book Nostalgia. They do a This Day in Comic Book History Every Day video that is posted to our website. And also you can check us out on our social media at Superhero Speak on Twitter and Instagram, and of course Facebook.com/Superhero Speak. And please join the conversation because we love talking to you guys. It's the highlight of my week.
It's getting better.
Yes. And speaking of that, so we're gonna talk a little bit about our social media interactions this week. Well, over the last 2 weeks, starting with some of the reactions we had from our last episode, which was our tribute to Stan Lee. And the first one, we got a private message from a Timothy Jones on Twitter, and he said he listened to our podcast today on Stan Lee. I just wanted to say thank you. It was some amazing stories and insight. I had a note from him when I sent in some drawings when I was a kid. I'm 52. He was very encouraging. Now I'm doing a self-syndicated comic strip. I wonder if it was his push to do what you love that kept me going all these years. I gotta find that note. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so thank you, Timothy. We appreciate the feedback. And then we had
I think Stan Lee is like one of the few people I know that actually understood what a small push at the right time could mean to somebody for the rest of their life.
Yes. We had Douglas Atherton. I hope I'm saying that right. Also on Twitter, he's at Walking Dead Art 1 on Twitter. He said it was such a great tribute. Stan Lee was a light that will never fade. He was and forever will be an inspiration to so many. My tribute art I did in his honor and memory. He is a true beacon of light, life, and creativity, who will always be remembered. And he included a picture that he drew of Stan. It says Stan Lee, 1922 to 2018, and always a Marvel. And there's the icons for many of the Marvel characters around him. And we will also include that piece of art in the description of the episode. So check it out. And thanks for sharing that with us, Douglas. So yeah, I mean, that was things to me the best part. And not there's any good part of Stanley's passing, but the best part of sharing our thoughts and stories is that then people shared back with us. So we do appreciate that. See what else do we have here? Oh, we had talked about Shazam and how excited JD is for it.
I'm digging it.
We talked about that fan poster, and oh yeah, you said I'm pumped. That was your reply on Twitter.
'Twas.
Carl Shinyama? S-H-I-N...
we're sorry.
Y-A-M-A.
We're just sorry.
Shinyama.
Carl Shinyama said, that's how I've always wanted to feel watching a Captain Marvel movie. And Sylvester Williams said that it was so cute, the fan poster that we tweeted out. So, actually, Comic Book Nostalgia tweeted out, but we did talk about it. So,
like I said, as a father of a 2-year-old, looking at this makes me incredibly happy that someone's actually going to the trouble to make a superhero movie that's going to appeal to kids.
Right.
What a crazy idea.
Oh, that's crazy. Crazy talk.
It's revolutionary. It's just
superheroes need to be dark and about murder.
Well,
sorry, I was looking at Heroes in Christ spoilers.
So something else that we've been doing is when people give us shout outs or reply to our stuff on Twitter and give us shout outs and whatnot, then we do a thank you tweet as we're promoting the show. And so people are appreciative of it. Joshua DeFalco, thanks for reading my tweet. Really digging the show, guys, and love the laid back nature of the podcast. Are we a little too laid back?
I don't know, man. Whatever.
I'm leaning back right now. I mean,
we can get more intense. Darkness.
Yeah, darkness. Dead parents.
Lillian Sue said, appreciate the shout out. Hashtag nerd brethren. Thanks for the support as always.
Anytime.
So,
J. Diane Dotson, thank you. It's somehow fitting that my name is garbled when it comes to anything Namor. Name more. LOL.
We here at Superhero Speak do like very bad jokes.
Yes.
If you listen to the show.
And then Comic Book Nostalgia totally dove into some speculation on the Captain America front. Did we really do that? And that's when he first posted his video about basically the same theory that we had, that the miniseries with Falcon and Winter Soldier should be kind of a, them competing for the shield. And
the battle for the shield, if you will.
Yes. And yeah, so he really enjoyed that episode. Like, that's when we said we should team up. And he tweeted the Super Friends shaking hands. So, the internet's a lovely place, I think.
Lovely is not the word I would use, but it's a place.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, I'm going to just, talk about this next thing, which leads into our first news item. So we had tweeted out that we at Superhero Speak would like to state for the record that Bill Maher is an asshat. That is all.
Word.
And Bishop Man at BishopMan69 replied, "True story." Mark from Nation of Nerds had tweeted a picture of Medea saying "Hell to the yeah,"
Mm-hmm.
and Superhero Pole Plus tweeted at us a GIF of Stan Lee saying "Nuff said." So
He's a boner.
Do we need to explain what he did though? Shouldn't we explain that?
yes, we're going to explain that. Of course,
It's on the list, dude.
Do you read the emails I sent?
I'm Cyber Monday.
So, as usual, no.
So
I have an excuse. I'm trying to spend the rest of my next paycheck.
his next paycheck. I love that. So for those who aren't aware, if you're a fan of the show, I'm sure you've heard this news by now. Bill Maher decided on the Saturday after Stan Lee passed away to post a little blog on his website.
Yeah.
Where basically he belittled Stan Lee's contribution to the world, said it's ridiculous for him, and that brings up America, and adults shouldn't be comic books do while present.
Yeah. People who read comic books are stupid. They're how many billions of dollars did Marvel make again? How stupid does it make them?
But that would just that actually you want to be a cynical. That's reinforcing his point, which is wrong.
So, of course, there was a huge backlash on social media over this, of people saying things about Bill Maher and basically saying, a billion people were sad when Stan Lee passed away, and how many people are going to be upset when you go, and things like that.
No one.
PAL Entertainment, which is Stan Lee's company, did issue a official statement on this. Mr. Maher, comic books, like all literature, are storytelling devices. When written well by great creators such as Stan Lee, they make us feel, make us think, and teach us lessons that hopefully make us better human beings. One lesson Stan taught so many of us was that tolerance and respect, and thanks to that message, we are grateful that we can say you have a right to your opinion, that comics are childish and unsophisticated. Many said the same about Dickens, Steinbeck, Melville, and even Shakespeare.
He's right.
But to say that Stan Lee merely inspired people to watch a movie, in our opinion, frankly disgusting, countless people can attest to how Stan inspired them to read, taught them that they would taught them,
you are just killing us.
taught them that the world is not made up of absolutes, that heroes can have flaws, and even villains can show humanity with their souls. He gave us the X-Men, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and many other heroes and stories that offered hope to those who felt different and bullied, while inspiring countless to be creative and dream of great things to come. These are but a few of the things that the fans of Stan Lee also consider adulting, because life, both as child and grown up, can indeed be a struggle. Stan is the author of millions of happy childhood memories and the provider of so many of the positive tools of adulthood. Our shock at your comments makes us want to say, "Nuff said, Bill," but instead we will rely on another Stan's lessons to remind you that you have the powerful platform. So please remember, with great power there must also come great responsibility.
It's well written.
Right. So you would think it would have ended there, right? No.
Oh God, no. This is one of those times when it just don't beat the troll. Because I think that's what Lamar is doing. He's like, he saw that as a way to make himself relevant again, because he's been kind of tearing over the edge of basically just fading into obscurity, and now he's found a way to make it all about him and derive a lot more interest in him again.
What I found interesting is then over the past weekend he was on Larry King Now, and he basically now here's what's interesting. This is what he says to Larry King. I'm agnostic on Stan Lee. I don't read comic books. I didn't even read them when I was a child. So, number one,
he doesn't know anything about him.
In his initial statement, he did say that he read them as a child and then grew up and stopped reading them. So, where's the lie come in? Either he read them as a kid or he didn't.
He could have, but I think he could have, like, perused them slightly as a child and never been a fan. You know, and it's clear he's not a fan of comics. He probably looked at them a couple times. You know?
True. And then it was like, okay, so then if you're not a fan of the medium, you never read the books, you don't watch the movies, which I'm going to get to that in a second.
Dave, is the world ending outside your door?
No. Unfortunately, I live near a fire station and a hospital, and I'm on a major road, so when something's going on, they all drive by my house.
I felt like it was setting the mood really well, and then it just kept going. I'm like, oh my God, is he in trouble?
Well, this really does sound like a dumpster fire, so, you know.
Well played.
So, where was I? Okay, so he's not a fan of the medium, so it kind of makes me sit there and go, well, if you don't understand, because you're not a fan of the medium, what the fans are going through, why do you feel the need to make the comment? I think John hit the nail on the head. It's like, he's looking for a way to get his name, in the news again. And
Bill Maher has a unique ability to make everything about him. Like, and it's kind of been one of the cornerstones of his career. Like, he loves to sit there and talk about how he was persecuted at 9/11 because he was the only guy that really lost his job because he had the courage to speak out. He's just a dick. Like, he's, you know me, out and out liberal, but Bill Maher is everything that, like, is the personification of everything that people hate about liberals. And I can go, yeah, okay. If you judge us based on that guy, I get it.
I completely agree with you. It's just yeah.
And like, I posted this thing on my Facebook today about Dave. There was some discussion between Dave and friend of the show, Steve Ekstrom, about baby boomers and the baby boomer mentality. And I kind of say this because, like, I see this here, right? Like, Maher is such a selfish, self-indulgent prick that he can't find a way to understand how anybody else could feel about something. So rather than try to make it about them understand and have some empathy, no, it's about me. How does this affect me? Oh, it doesn't affect me? Then you're all stupid. You should die. Like, that's just his attitude about everything. And, he's washed away on HBO where no one cares about him anymore. He lost his fastball and they had to bring in John Oliver. So, I mean, I'm so over this dude.
Well, also, does everyone forget that he had a cameo in an Iron Man movie?
Oh, he likes cashing checks.
Like, that's what also gets me too, is that, like, you made money off of one of his creations by doing a cameo in the movie, and now you're going to crap on him? Like,
well, if you get paid for it, then obviously that's okay.
No, and the problem is that he's such a cynical jerk that I believe he's one of those kids that was like 30 when he was like 10. I don't believe that Bill Maher had a happy childhood, where he had this sense of wonderment as a child. Like, it just doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. He's such a cynical prick that I completely believe that he didn't find anything identifiable about comics. Like, he just seems like a smug jerk who does, a lot of us who enjoy this stuff love our childhood. Like, despite all of our childhood foibles, we love being a child. And we get to experience that love again as parents. Here you have a guy, I don't think Bill Maher has kids. Like, I don't think he really liked being a child all that much. So, I mean, I don't think he possesses that childlike sense of wonderment to even find comics as a kid, let alone rediscover them as an adult and see what the medium is capable of producing.
Right.
So he just goes back to, like, those 1960s articles that everything has to start with BAM and zip and, like, he just doesn't understand the medium, and I'm glad that nobody's giving him a pass on this.
And I really feel, because of the social media world we live in, I've seen it time and time again. People say stuff just to create a buzz around them. And it's like, but is this really how you want to be known? Like,
yeah, it's Bill Maher.
As long as they're known, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the transport there.
You don't get it. He loves it. He relishes in this crap. He's no better than a Bill O'Reilly. Like, he just loves when the conversation is about him and how he can go on his show and in his delivery talk about how he's the persecuted one. Like my impression, I thought it was pretty good.
You almost wonder if he really and just like Bill O'Reilly, you wonder if he actually believes what he's saying half the time.
He's a huckster. Like, he don't care. Like I said, he's so cynical. Like, it's like he's like the definition of postmodernism. Like, wrapped up in one surly bastard. I hope he gets visited by 3 ghosts this Christmas.
I don't know. Like, I totally unreal.
The 3. I'm sorry. The 3 ghosts would be the 3 hosts of was it the morning Fox show?
Oh, Fox and Friends.
Fox and Friends.
That would torture him. That's a great idea.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna write this down. This is a great idea.
Kind of related, but not related to Stan Lee. I saw this other article. It just reminded me of the same situation. Andy Duncan. Are you familiar with his work? Either of you?
I am not. Who?
He's an American sci-fi author, right?
Okay.
And he was on a podcast, Geek's Guide to the Galaxy, over the weekend, and he basically said that Tolkien was a racist because in the Lord of the Rings books, the orcs are mistreated.
Oh my God!
Are the orcs the bad guy?
Yeah, but it's just this one race, and this race is this race is being treated different than the other races.
Was he identifying as an orc? Does he identify as an orc? It's like,
It's one of those, like, and like I've seen like 3 or 4 articles on this already, and it's just like, it's an asinine comment, but it feels like, yeah, I'm making this comment so that I can get my name trending out on social media. You know, like,
there's a guy in pro wrestling by the name of Eric Bischoff who wrote a book about 15 years ago called "Controversy Creates Cash."
Mm-hmm.
I'll be damned if the man ain't right about it.
All right, what's something we can see that's really outrageous in this episode, guys?
Oh God, that's what I do every week.
The Earth is flat.
Been there.
Yeah, and then
pandas will drink your soul.
See, but then
clowns in horror are overrated.
Clowns and in horror are overrated.
In horror is overrated and overdone. Man, I put that on my author Facebook page once, and I got people mailing me like angry that I dare speak out. Yeah, that like they said maybe we should rest on clowns and horror stories. And whoop, did I feel a backlash?
You know what?
Unpopular opinion.
Just tweet back to them a link to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That'll shut them up.
I think the only good horror movie with a clown in it is it. So
I agree with you on that. But there's a lot of them. That's a trope.
I know it's a trope. Yeah.
That's how many there are. Oh, I brought it back to Bill Maher talking about horror clowns.
Oh.
Yeah.
And thus the circle is closed.
And then there are people like Armie Hammer who I don't think his comment was intentionally a bad thing. I think it was he tweeted something without thinking about it, how it sounded. And that is, you guys have heard this story, right?
You know, I'm just reading it right now. So I was curious to hear how an American blue blood pushes his opinion upon the rest of us and graces us with his thoughts. You guys know that Armie Hammer is the great grandson of Armand Hammer, as in like the baking soda billionaire magnate. True story.
But then wasn't it cruel that his parents named him Armie?
It's Armand, yeah. That's like, it's not Armand, like the Armand Hammer comes from the name of Armand Hammer, was the dude's name. It's a fam. Like I said, he's an American blue blood. It makes me sick. He's like a DuPont. Anyway. I think I get what he was trying to say, which is similar to what I just said, is you made it about you. But I think that I don't think he got it. You know, if people enjoyed him and his presence and his work, they'd want to get pictures taken with him and care about him too. But nobody does, so he doesn't understand it.
So no one's sharing pictures they took with Armie Hammer because no one's enjoyed his work.
No, name one good thing the man has been in.
I liked Lone Ranger.
You lie. No one liked Lone Ranger.
I liked it.
I
did you like Johnny?
Liked it too.
Did you like Johnny Depp or did you like him?
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, no, everyone likes Johnny Depp and everything, even when he's being kind of racist.
Yeah.
With a dead bird tied to his head for some reason. Like, but I mean, he's like Lone Ranger and he's playing like fifth fiddle in that movie.
This is true. Behind Johnny Depp and then all the villains.
And the horse.
And the horse upstaged him, definitely.
All right, I will give you that. He was definitely upstaged by a horse.
Well, he was kind of the wet blanket. I mean, they went too far with the white bread good guy from the 40s and 50s, you know?
When the movie is about you and you are the least interesting character in the movie, that's a problem.
Yeah, no, I will give you that. And I think John's really onto something. Is they tried to make him the stereotypical white hat from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and audiences really don't want that anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like way passé.
So,
all right. So speaking of comic books,
so anyway,
remember those?
But I will say this: he also did apologize for his comment. So I will give him that. You know, blue buds can see the error of their way.
Maybe.
If you staple gun into their forehead, maybe.
I don't really know if I want to talk about this because I'm kind of over this whole thing. I addressed it on our website and
the Stan Lee is racist thing. Yeah, it's stupid. Everyone knows that's not true.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah. Considering his body of work and the statements he's made in the past, there's just no way.
Right.
I'm sorry.
There's no way. Especially when you take the out of context what. No. I mean, like anyone, like it's the comic skate guys try to rewrite what the band said to be one of them, and like no. We're gonna let this one lie. This is BS.
It's not. Don't give it any oxygen.
All right. If you want to know my whole opinion on it and the history of why he's not, there is an article on our website, so check it out.
And it's the best thing I've ever read from you, quite honestly.
Oh my God.
It was good.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. I meant to tweet you about that, but I forgot.
All right. So moving on to happy news. In a unexpected trailer release, we have gotten the Once Upon a Deadpool trailer that was released. The most confusing re-release of a movie ever. What did you guys see it, and what did you think?
I think it's incredibly well written, borderline genius. I don't know how they're going to make it work, but I absolutely love the framing device. They're doing it's the Princess Bride, clearly with Fred Savage, mixed with Misery.
Yes.
With Deadpool. Brilliant.
I think if they keep going in this direction, they are basically writing themselves into a corner. They can't keep getting better like this. You know? They can't.
I think they can because they're about to come under the auspices of one Kevin Feige. So I think it could get better.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I'm still confused on why they're doing this.
I'm with you. Like, what's the reason for this?
Because they can, and because, well, Ryan Reynolds, I guess.
But the movie made what it made. They're not making a different movie. Like, I would get if they did this for like a Blu-ray release or like an Amazon Prime thing, but to re-release the whole thing, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
And to have to rework it so that it's PG-13 and a holiday.
Well, I think that's why they need the framing device, because they realize if they cut all the R stuff, the movie doesn't really have much to hold it together. But if you reframe it as with the narration thing, where it becomes a little bit more, like The Princess Bride, because if you take out the the Peter Falk, Fred Savage stuff from The Princess Bride, it doesn't really work as a narrative on its
Right.
own. So I think whoever came up with that idea is a stroke of genius.
Well, they were stroking something, all right.
No.
I did not include this article, but I'm hoping, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, I'm hoping you guys have seen the Detective Pikachu trailer.
Oh my God, I need to see that movie.
Go ahead, sorry.
The reaction videos on YouTube for people watching that. I have a bunch of reaction channels that I watch. The reactions were like, some of them weren't expecting it to be live action. Some of them were expecting Mario Brothers, and everybody looks like they're very, very pleasantly surprised and awaiting to see what the whole movie's going to be like. But it looks damn good.
Did you see it, JD?
Oh yeah. I was going to say that I kind of missed the Pokemon thing. Like, I'm just old enough to have missed it and not quite gotten it, but I have some younger friends that when Pokemon Go was a thing a few years ago, like, life stopped for them.
Right.
And I tried to play it. I'm like, let's see what the hassles. And I kind of got why it could be a lot of fun, but I never had the connection to it. Seeing this trailer made me kind of go, whoa, this looks like a lot of fun. And I think that I kind of got it a little bit more, where I've struggled to get it for years and years.
Yeah, I mean, I personally was never into Pokemon, but I have two kids that were both really into it, so I get it. In fact, my son, who is 16, will be 17 in April, was like, oh my God, that was so good. I can't wait to see this movie. And I found, like, when they said Ryan Reynolds was going to do the voice of Pikachu, I thought he was just going to do, the I Am Groot from, Vin Diesel,
Right.
Like, he just said I
yeah.
Am Groot, so they would just get Ryan Reynolds saying Pikachu in 100 different ways, but no, that was a cool device. Like, this one guy can understand what he's saying.
Well, that's the premise of the video game too, from what I understand. I haven't played it myself, but what I've heard is that the whole thing is that the detective guy, he's the only one who can understand exactly what Pikachu says. So the thing is that Pikachu can talk to other Pokemon and find out what they know, and that's what makes it so good as a detective story, is because they can get information that normal humans can't get.
Cool.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think so. I think your son's probably gonna love it.
A little young, but I mean, like, when he gets older, I imagine, like, he's not even 3 yet. So I mean, like, we debated taking him to see The Grinch, but he can't sit still for more than like 10 minutes at home, let alone to sit in a movie theater.
Yeah, same with me.
So you're telling me this is what I have to look forward
Yes.
to?
Always. All right, so moving on.
When your prostate starts to go.
I'm trying to avoid whole topic. So yes, we'll definitely check that out. And last but not least, on the Marvel front, there are reports that Marvel may have found their replacement being done for the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise.
Kevin Feige.
No, Travis Knight.
So you sent us this, and I had to look up who he was because the name did not click with me at all. And I mean, we've talked before how Feige likes to hire these rather untested filmmakers and kind of keep them in the Marvel. You almost treat it like TV. We hire the showrunner runs in, and the director comes in, just does the movie, and moves on. Mm-hmm. So this kind of fits in there. I mean, the guy's made one movie, and it's not even out yet. And like, I don't know.
He's worked as an animator on Caroline, Paranormal, and
Coraline.
Kubo of the G-Strings, the Box Trolls,
Coraline, and Paranorman.
Right.
Yeah, and these are all like these. Like, I didn't see Box Trolls, but Paranorman, Kubo, and Coraline are all top notch. I mean,
yeah, but he was an animator on it.
Yeah,
like he's
got
contributed great work, and it wasn't his movie.
Right. But it gives you, I mean, it's not like, it could have been like, yeah, he was involved with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which,
So was George Clooney, so.
This is true. But what I'm saying is that at least he's got a good body of work behind him where he probably knows the right things to do and wasn't taught the wrong things.
That's a good point. I mean, it's not like he came up underneath Roger Corman, although Roger Corman wound up shepherding some good directors. But like I said, I want to see Bumblebee before I make this decision, because all these Transformers movies have been really bad.
Right.
And they've been progressively worse.
Yeah.
I know.
This one's supposed to turn it around, but I don't know.
You know me and John Cena. I'm going to see it, mainly because I have a soft spot for the Transformers in my heart. And I let them, it's like I'm in a negative relationship with a film franchise where I know it's going to hurt me, but I keep coming back on the hope that maybe they'll get it right this time. He still loves me. Like,
that is the perfect description.
Yeah. And now I feel horrible for making that joke and trivializing that. I feel terrible saying that out loud. So I'm going to apologize in advance. But yeah, I don't know. Ironic that I made that bad joke of the James Gunn thing.
Yes. You're the jilted Transformer lover. I agree, though. I do want to see Bumblebee before I make any decisions about this guy's directing ability. And again, it just seems like Guardians is so far off at this point. Who knows? And again, this isn't like a definite thing. This was just like, they've had meetings with him. It looks like he's going to take over, but it's not quite a done deal yet. So.
Well, we can hope that it might make it through. I don't know.
I mean, do you think it's an idea of getting someone young so that they can guide them towards what they want out of the movie?
I hope that's not what it is, because, that would be bad, because we want more input, right? I mean, take all of the bad trilogies that we've ever seen, right? The more input the studios had, the worse things got.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like Matrix, Ghostbusters, you name it. Even, well,
are we sure about Matrix? I mean, it seemed like the more leeway the Wachowskis had, the worse off it was. Like, I'd argue Matrix is an argument for studio intervention.
Well, I guess, what am I trying to say? The more things are you're right. It breaks down, but I don't know. It just,
you know, what's an even better argument for studio intervention? The Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, you would have needed that, right?
Right. I mean, I think it's better now. Like, it's not like in the 90s when these studios were filled with dudes that just had marketing degrees and wanted to sell toys. I mean, now these studio execs are all writers. So I do think that you get notes and things are more workshopped. Like Marvel being the best example of it. Like, they always build in time for reshoots, and they always say, "Oh, this didn't work as well as we thought it did. Let's go back and fix it." And oftentimes it works. I mean, like, Rogue One was saved by reshoots and, people continuously messing and not just accepting what was there. Not so much Solo, but Rogue One. So,
speaking of studio execs and just wanting to sell toys, how many Pretty in Pink toys did you guys have when you were kids?
I was like 2.
John?
Pretty in Pink toys? Is that even a thing?
But you know what is a thing? The CW has cast their Lex Luthor for Supergirl, and it's John Cryer, or Ducky.
Oh my God.
So John Cryer also was Lenny Luthor in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Oh my God.
A movie that most comic fans would like to forget ever happened, which just goes to prove you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Or the villain's uncle.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this.
I'm not going to hold much hope for that.
Do you guys have any remembrance of him being in any role where he played the heavy or was menacing in any way?
No. Not at all. That being said, I'm sure they just didn't give it to him. Like, oh, John Cryer, that guy screams Lex Luthor. I'm sure they had to do some type of an audition or something, or he came to them with a take on it. Like, I have to believe they just didn't go, yeah, Alan from 2.5 Men, that's Lex Luthor. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Because that's the thing, too. He had to have had some kind of incredible audition because he does currently have the stink of 2.5 Men on him. Like, not that there was anything wrong with the show. I mean, I like the show, but, like, that's not the guy you want playing Lex Luthor.
No. That's why I think that there's something, I want to hold out hope because these things are usually still well done, that, especially casting. Like, I want to hold out the hope that they see something that we don't. And actors actors always like to say they want to spread their wings and they can do more than you think they can do. So I am willing to say, okay, let's see what he can do. That being said, this is it's going to be a big stretch for him.
Yeah, unless he can pull a Michael Keaton, like, what Keaton did with the Vulture character, I don't.
See,
and Michael Keaton can pull. Keaton can pull like Menace, like out of a hat when you least expect it.
Right, and he's got a career. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Keaton had a career where he could do comedy and then come back and do some like super heavy drama. So I don't think anyone who knows Michael Keaton should have been surprised that he was awesome in Homecoming. But Michael Keaton or John Cryer ain't Michael Keaton.
No, not at all.
I'm curious. I'm gonna go to his IMDb real quick. I want to see if there's one thing in his resume that makes me go, yeah. Let me see this. Because remember when they casted Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, we all kind of went, okay, Zuckerberg, I can see it. We didn't get that, but we all kind of got it.
Yeah.
Well, we got it when we heard the news.
Huh. Yeah. Did you guys know he plays Felix Faust on Justice League Action?
I did.
Yeah. Did not know that.
So
he's got a lot of stuff that I don't know what it is.
There's a lot of Robot Chicken too, apparently. Yeah, I've been looking through this. I don't see anything. I'm not going to hold out much hope. Unless in like NCIS he was playing a bad guy, and I haven't seen those episodes, but I got nothing. So
yeah, I'm with you, man. There's nothing on here that makes me go, yeah.
So the only thing I could think of is doing a take on Lex Luthor where his public persona is an unassuming businessman. Like, he's somebody you look at and you're like, there's no way he's up to anything menacing or evil. And then behind the scenes, he's got all this stuff.
But they already know he's been doing menacing.
Maybe not. It depends on how they choose to execute in this movie. Let me throw something out. Would anybody really think that Hal from Malcolm in the Middle could be the most menacing villain in television history?
No. No.
So maybe he's got something we just don't see.
Yeah. I still want to see him as Lex Luthor,
Me neither, but I think that, I tell you what, I don't really watch Supergirl, but I'm really curious about this one.
Well, that's the thing. In the Supergirl mythos, he's already been put in jail. He's already been put away. So they already know that he's
right. No, you're right. I forgot about that aspect of it on the show.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't. Oh, well.
Maybe he will play him as flamboyantly gay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, that would explain how angry his sister is on the show.
Exactly. There you go. This is why he got all the attention from Dad.
Well, this is why she wears the pants in the family.
Sorry. I don't know. I just can't. He doesn't scream menacing.
Yeah.
Not somebody that Superman would consider a formidable foe. And, like, they did talk about that on the show already. Like, he's one of his greatest enemies. So it's like, yeah. Well, and that's the other thing, too. Like, the age difference. I mean, John Cryer's in his 50s?
Yeah.
And they got a pretty young guy playing Superman on that show, so.
Well, I always thought I don't know, like I always preferred my Luthor to be old than Superman, because I kind of want to think that he's been at it a lot longer. And it was Superman that exposed him finally. Yeah. Like, I've just never been a big fan of the idea that they went to They're both from Smallville.
Okay.
Let's just hope we don't get Batman v Superman, Lex Luthor, who had his DNA mixed up with the Joker apparently, or.
So, like I said, man, I mean that should have been spot on. Like if he'd have played him like he did Zuckerberg, but like even a little bit more menacing, we could have had something. But instead, we got the Riddler.
Yep. The Riddler on acid.
Yeah.
Speaking of Superman, a character for the DCEU, Margot Robbie has released the official title of the Prey movie, or the full title. Did you say this is?
You Pray Love.
This is the most ridiculous. If this is true, if this was on the official DC Twitter, this is the most ridiculous movie title ever. Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harkin.
Are they trying to Deadpool this?
I think if there's a character you can, it's Harley Quinn. Like maybe they finally figured out that they have a Deadpool and Harley Quinn. So the title is clearly supposed to be over the top, right? That being said, I think this right here makes me feel pretty good because there's a lot to hate about Suicide Squad, but the thing I hated the most is that the way they portrayed the Joker and Harley Quinn. Like to the point where people were like, I was talking to young kids and they're like, oh yeah, Joker and Harley Quinn, that's like the relationship, and like they didn't get it that she's abused, like she's psychologically and physically abused. So I think that just based on this title, that's going to be addressed, and it's going to be a little bit more close to what the characters would be, and it's going to bring her a little closer to what her comic version is. So I actually see a lot of hope with this.
Okay, but people are not going to say that full title.
They're not supposed to. I think it's a gag. They're going to call it Birds of Prey. No one called it Batman v Superman: The Dawn of Justice.
No, that is true.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree too that it maybe, at least with the aspect of Harley Quinn, they're definitely going in a more humorous direction with her. As humorous as you can get with someone like that.
Like a dark humor, and you got a great actress that can do it. She was the only thing worthwhile in Suicide Squad. So, why not steer into the skid? Go with what works.
Yeah. All right, I'll hold out hope for Birds of Prey. We still don't even know how it fits into the whole DC universe at this point, anyway.
I don't think there is a DC universe. We've talked about they're just going to do like movies. I think they're better off when they try to make things work. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
And one movie we haven't heard anything about in a while, other than a brief update given by Ezra Miller, is the Flash movie.
I think it got Flash pointed out of existence.
And basically what he said while talking about it in an interview with Playboy was, nothing is ever certain in this world, but as certain as it can get, we're making a effing sequel Flash movie. It's one of my great life dreams, and just the fact that we're on the way. Anyone who knows about Barry Allen knows he may arrive late, very late, but once he gets there, it's all solved. They have to trust. That sounds to me like an actor who still desperately wants to do this movie, but the studio's like, yeah, we'll get to it eventually.
Well, it's also because Ezra Miller has he's got commitments with Fantastic Beasts, right? The third movie.
Okay.
So he's shooting that in July of 2019. Which means that, so basically they can't release Flash movie until 2020 at the earliest because he won't be available to shoot until, to shoot in time to get it out next year.
So I read this and I think to myself, methinks thou doth protest too much.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with you 100%, Dave. I don't think this movie's happening.
Yeah.
I think he really wants to play the Flash again. But I mean, like I said, they just don't know what they're doing with their movies right now. They're going to see what's happening with it. I mean, there's no need for a Flash movie at this moment.
You don't think the scheduling conflicts are?
I'm sure it's part of definitely. I read this and I see a guy really want to make this movie, but I don't think. I mean, like they haven't announced anything. They were going to do Flashpoint, and then that went bye bye. They were going to do a regular movie. They announced the cast, and then that went bye bye. Like there's just nothing at this moment that tells me this movie's going to happen.
Yeah, and in Ezra Miller's defense, I think some of it has to do with, buzz online, stuff. I mean, we've even said it on this show, and we've talked about it. Like, there is a Flash that's currently on TV that people love. Like, of all the DC shows, like, a lot of people still really like the Flash show. You know, like, even people who've given up on Arrow still watch Flash. You know,
This is
because
true.
it is the campy comic book TV show that you want. You know, it's just enough camp.
And
Go ahead.
and the writing is good, and they have good overarching stories, and the actors are. You can still tell that the actors love what they're doing, and they work well together, and it's just, you know, there's really nothing to dislike about it at this point.
So I don't know if that's making them hesitant, but, you know, movies are a different animal. They reach a larger audience, so I don't know. I kind of feel like they're Warner Brothers has got so afraid to pull the trigger on different projects that this one they've kind of just put on the back burner, and unless something comes out of like an idea that's like, oh my God, we have to do this, we know this is going to work, you know, it's just going to sit there.
Maybe if Ryan Reynolds backed it.
Well, have him return as Green Lantern. And him and Flash could do a team up movie.
That would kind of work, though.
You let Ryan Reynolds make the Green Lantern movie he wants to make. It worked for Deadpool.
The one he'd want to make would have Deadpool coming in.
That's probably true. Hate to change the subject, but did you guys hear that Hugh Jackman has a big announcement coming up Thursday?
No.
You're thinking Wolverine?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's what most of us are going to think, and like, I don't think you make a big deal about this if you're going to go back on Broadway or something like that, you know? Like, what would Hugh Jackman need to be that cloak and dagger about?
Birth of his wife's maybe pregnant again?
He's going back to Broadway for Les Miserables.
I don't know.
They'll be doing The Greatest Showman on Broadway?
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
I mean, like, let's say maybe we're gonna get a Wolverine in the MCU. Nothing's been announced for the future.
See you on Thursday on the Today Show for an exclusive announcement. You sure that's not just him trying to get people to watch the Today Show?
Why would you get people to watch the Today Show? Like, if you're Hugh Jackman.
Well, that's true.
And make a big deal. And, like, what kind of exclusive? I mean, like, it could be, I mean, like, I hope unless he comes on and says, look, this has nothing to do with Wolverine, he's going to depress a lot of people. Based on, let's check his Twitter feed to see if he has said that. It doesn't seem to.
Nice.
I don't know. Does make you wonder.
I'm curious. Like,
we'll see.
All right. Time for an unpopular opinion.
Lay it on.
If they're going to bring the X-Men, well, they are going to bring the X-Men into the MCU, I don't want Jackman.
You know, I actually kind of agree with you. I don't really want this version of the X-Men.
Right.
But that being said, I would make an exception if they were going to try to do something. I'd be willing to entertain it more than anything else. You know, like, I would, if I got only one, like if I had all that whole X-Men universe and I got one draft to bring over into the MCU, I would take Wolverine. Because I do think that it took him a little while, but I do think that Hugh Jackman eventually embodied what the character was.
So, yeah. I mean, I will say this. There is one thing that I think every diehard Marvel fan wants, and they tried it once and screwed it up royally, and that is Deadpool versus Wolverine on the big screen.
Oh, yeah. But that doesn't exist anymore. Deadpool just erased it, remember?
Oh, that's true. That's right. He went back in time, and he said all of that was canon. So
yeah, that's true.
So he erased that fight.
Thank God.
Yeah. We can pretend it never existed now.
I like to pretend it never existed.
All right. So if you're listening to the show before Thursday, what do you think the big announcement's going to be, and what are you hoping for? And do you agree with JD and I that maybe it's time to move to a new version of the X-Men?
Maybe he's taking Wolverine to Broadway.
Oh God.
No, Wolverine Disney on Ice.
No.
Oh God, I want to see that.
No. Oh God. You just gave me ideas for artwork for this week. So anyway, Wolverine on Ice. Wow. Oh, I almost forgot. A couple of little things I wanted to mention. I was going to mention this at the top of the show when we talked about what we did for the week, and forgot. I had an impromptu conversation with a friend of mine today. Some people might know who he is, J.G. Jones. And for those who are fans of his, I'm sure you're aware, he announced earlier this year that he is stepping back from comics for a while because he has a medical issue that he's taking care of. He essentially has a rare form of bone cancer, and we were just like chatting on my way home from work. We were just chatting on Facebook, and he is his spirits are up. He's doing well right now. He has had a bone graft, and it's 65 days ago, and it hasn't been rejected. And his doctors say he's on target. So he doesn't know I was going to share this information, but I was so glad to hear that he's doing good. So I mean, yeah, like I've mentioned this before. He lives in my neighborhood. Like I've known him for years. He's a really good guy, other than being a very talented artist. And I haven't talked to him in a while, so it was like really cool that he just started messaging me out of the blue because he had a notification pop up from an old conversation we had, and he was, sent me these question marks, and he's like, "This seems like an old conversation," and I'm like, "It is." And then we just started talking. So yeah. So
was it a Facebook thing? That's a bit of thing. Like Facebook's been sending people notifications about old messages.
Yeah. So
isn't that weird?
So actually, what I really want to say is, if you're a fan of his and you follow him on Facebook and whatnot, like just message him, maybe just on his page or whatever. Just say you're thinking about him. You hope he's doing well, because he's what's the word I'm looking for? He can't leave his house because his immune system is compromised because of everything he's going through.
He's quarantined.
Thank you. Yeah, so he's quarantined right now.
Wow.
So I think it would help him if people just said they were thinking about him. Just a little thing.
I got to meet him in Chicago in 2009. Yeah. The last time I went to the Chicago Comic-Con. It was the only show I ever went out of my way to meet creators. Uh-huh. I'm not I just don't like being big shows, like a social anxiety kind of kicks in. And he couldn't have been nicer. And we had a nice conversation because it was a slow day at the show. And he told me about this creator-owned idea he had, and it sounded really awesome. It's been a decade, so I guess I never really got off the ground. But what a good dude, man! What a really good, super talented guy.
Yeah, oh, definitely. That's how we actually became friends. Was I didn't realize he lived in the area, but I would go to shows, and he loves to just draw while he's at shows, and I would just sit and watch him the entire time. And then we would just start talking, because I was standing there watching him draw. So, yeah, super talented. So also one last thing, and this is just a weird aside, okay? We got a message on Twitter, right? From Sarah Womack. And so the message is, she just says, "Hi there. I won this signed and framed Spidey comic from a charity silent auction last week and was wondering what you thought it might be worth." It says Excelsior Stanley. Thanks, Sarah. And then she has
10 capes.
And then she showed me a picture of it. And so Sarah, first off, I'm not an appraiser. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure out what your book might be worth. I'm not going to even say this or that. I have one signed comic from Stan that I will never part with. Like, it's a crown jewel in my collection, right? If you're one of those who are like, oh, he's dead now, I'm going to try to sell this, you're trying to profit off his death, I find that kind of disgusting. Like, obviously, you're not a fan. Why did you buy this? And
well, a lot of people do that. They speculate, especially when they know that somebody's going downhill. And eBay was flooded with memorabilia the day it happened. That's some people's business. I mean,
and the only thing is, I looked at it, and it looks like a good forgery. To be quite honest with you, it doesn't quite look right. So, if you're listening to the show, Sarah, I'm sorry. Your best bet is to take it to an authenticator before you do anything with it, because I don't think it's an actual Stanley signature. It's a close, but there's just a couple things that look off about it. So,
well, if she won it from what, a silent auction, you said, or something,
or charity auction. So she can ask the people from that where they got it from.
Yeah.
So, usually when you get those things, there's like a certificate of authenticity or something like that comes with it.
And if it's like that big, maybe even a chain of custody or something, like they know who's had it.
Well, it's a fairly new book. It was Spider-Man: Legend of the Spider Clan, which is only a few years old. So it seems like it's something like was signed specifically for a charity, but I mean, who knows? I could be wrong in my suspicion, but again, I'm not an appraiser. I don't think you should try to flood eBay with something else, but to each their own.
Next week on Speculators Speak.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's what I had.
It's not really what we do.
No. And this is a little need to get some of these interviews out. So we're gonna add one real quick. John. This is a fairly short one. Matthew Erman? How do you say his last name?
Matthew Erman. Which one is this?
Lost Souls. This was
Lost Souls, guys. He's a re-interview, I guess. I have to look at my notes. I didn't have my notes up. I'm horribly not so badly.
See, this is why I send an email before we record.
Matthew Erman.
Oh, I don't have it.
It's Matthew.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't have the R written down. Sorry.
Yeah. Lost Souls. This is. I don't know. It's a really good comic book. The art is very stylized and somewhat dark and foreboding, I would say. And it's kind of horror. I don't know. You have to read it. You have to listen to what he says about it, because he'll explain it much better.
This book sounds awesome.
It does. All
right, so let's hear what he had to say while we were at New York Comic Con.
Okay, so John O'Grady, Superhero Speak, New York Comic Con 2018, last day on Sunday. We're all exhausted, but we are still finding people very much worth talking to. And I am here with...
I'm Matthew Erman. I'm the writer and co-creator of Long Lost, which is a horror series with Scout Comics.
Cool. We found you because you're standing next to the Stabbity Bunny people who...
Yeah.
Friends of the show, and I'm here to get my fix. But your story, Long Lost, was recommended to me. So you want to go over a little bit about the premise?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Long Lost, it's a story that I created with my wife, Lisa Sturl, who's the artist. And it's about two estranged sisters that find their way back together to go back to their southern hometown called Hazel Patch to figure out what happened to their missing mom. It's really a surrealistic horror in the vein of David Lynch and Junji Ito's horror manga. Uzumaki is a huge influence of mine and Lisa's. Yep. And it's got a little bit of a Stranger Things vibe to it. Tonally, it's fun. It's a little weird. It's real spooky, and it's been a pleasure to work on. And, I mean, not to brag, but we did just get optioned for television with the incredibly talented Jenny Klein.
Now, how did that come about?
She followed me on Twitter, and I saw an opportunity, and I took it. So,
what you got to do? So, when you say television, like a series or a movie?
That's the idea. We're hoping that she's developing it right now. So we're hoping that it gets picked up somewhere. And she's incredibly talented. Like I said, she's worked on Jessica Jones and Cloak and Dagger and the new upcoming Netflix Witcher series, which I am hugely looking forward to. So it's super strange and surreal and weird that this has happened for our little book. So,
and the Jessica Jones series did really well. Cloak and Dagger I finished watching. That was good. So
I feel like we're in really good hands.
Yeah, exactly. And like lately, stuff like we've got Sabrina coming out. Mm-hmm. They rebooted Charmed, or not rebooted, they're extending Charmed, right?
Yeah.
It's a new series. So it sounds like this, the market for this is
I hope
hot
so.
Right now.
Yeah, no, I hope so. I mean, it's always a little strange to think about that stuff, and Lisa and I weren't necessarily thinking about creating something for TV when we developed Long Lost. It's a passion project that came from our love of horror and kind of our general disappointment with horror as well sometimes. So we wanted to put our money where our mouth was and make something that really spoke to us as fans of horror and what we wanted to see.
And when you say disappointment with horror, what do you mean?
So, we'll be watching a movie and it'll get to the last 15, 30 minutes, and I think sometimes they either over-explain or they kill the vibe or they do something that disappoints me, and I spent so long watching those kinds of movies that are so good all the way through and then have their legs cut out from under them, and I just decided that I can do that. I can write a story that doesn't do that, hopefully, and that's kind of the inception of Long Lost. That was 4.5 years ago almost.
Something that doesn't rely completely on jump scares?
Exactly. Yeah, ours is a slow burn comic, a lot of dread. We like tone. It's monochromatic with a lot of really beautiful color washes. So when you open it up, you'll think it's black and white, but we do it is a full color book. So there's a little bit of a surprise in there for people that are into that kind of thing. I don't know. We're really inspired by a lot of Japanese horror manga too. So a lot of that comes from.
They usually go more story oriented and, like you said, slow burn.
Yeah. Building
up the horror until you get that drop.
For sure, man.
Whereas most American stuff is, it just horrible. It's horrible. it's just out now.
Not to poo-poo on anything, but I think our story is unique and special, and I think that's why people have responded so well to it.
Awesome. Now, something we like to ask. This is your first work, is it?
Yeah, this is both of our first published works.
Right. So we would like to figure out how you got from, hey, I have this idea, to, hey, I'm sitting here with the Stabby Bunny guys. I have my own book and a TV option. How did you get from here to there?
Well, it's a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work. We developed a pitch when we kind of came to an idea that we really liked. Before I was into comics, I did short stories and prose and poetry, and I was on that literary journal circuit for about 8 to 10 years. I had a little bit of a success there, but I wanted to step out of my realm of comfortability and do something new and interesting, and I've always loved comics. Mm-hmm. So it felt like a really natural jump for us. And again, my wife is an artist, so I don't have to pay her a page rate. So,
okay, so slave labor, that's your secret,
exactly.
Right? Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. Did you, and for publishing, like you published it yourself?
No, we pitched it to Scout. They got back to us like within the next couple days, and we really liked what they told us they were capable of doing, and it really fit. They believed in the idea. They allowed us a lot of creative freedom to tell the story that we wanted to tell, and it really was a perfect fit for us.
Yeah. And Scout being a publishing company that's been handling a lot of stuff here, Stabby Bunny and Solar Flare and a few others that are around here now. Your wife is the artist.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet on the circuit or something?
No. We're from the same town. We grew up in Kettering, Ohio, which is outside of Dayton, Ohio. And she was going to school in Columbus, and she needed a roommate. And we had just started talking, and we had just met, and I really wanted to get out of Dayton, so I pounced on that opportunity and moved up and became a roommate, and one thing led to another, and we started dating, and
it's kind of neat, a writer and an artist together.
I will say this until the day that I die, I am the luckiest dude that ever lived.
And you're going to actually get your wife to listen to this too, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's 100% the game plan.
So, how's the New York Comic Con treating you? I mean, how does it feel to be here with stuff to sell? Have you been to conventions before?
This is my first New York Comic Con. My second big con. I did C2E2 earlier this year.
Oh well, yeah.
I tabled an Artist Alley for that, and this is my first time coming to New York too. So, it's been a learning curve, but I've really gotten the hang of it. It's a beautiful city. I love this convention. We're 100% going to come back next year. Me and Lisa, that is. So no, it's been incredible. It's been an excellent experience.
You see anything around here that you were interested in? Like, I mean, there are some horror things around here. You can ignore that. But like, do you have any preferences for comic books, DC, Marvel?
Yeah, no,
anything you like? Anything you really like to read?
Yeah, I've slugged around a lot of the booths. I've hit up Boom. I've hit up Archie. I think Source Point Press has some really awesome things.
Yeah.
They're really cool. Who else have I checked out? Lion Forge is excellent. They are doing a ton of really rad things. I'm trying to think. I've seen so much in the past 3 days. It's like
and it is Sunday. You're kind of in a fog at this point, right?
It's like a big gnarly fog. But there are so many quality publishers here. IDW, 2000 AD. Like, I know I'm just like making a list of things that are here, but they all do incredibly rad things, and a lot of the creators that are working for those publishers are super cool, and I've had a chance to talk with a lot of people that are doing really cool things there too. So
cool. So one of the things that I've been contractually obligated to ask as we're ending this up is that one of the things we say at the end of every one of our interviews is or one of our shows is don't let your cape get caught in the door.
For sure.
And originally it was just a little ending thing. Now it's come to mean more. It means don't let things get in your way, obstacles and such. So what are the obstacles that you found on your way to here?
Just the amount of having to put yourself out there. I think that hard work is so necessary, and it's required, and it's a given that you need to put in the hard work, but you also need to be humble and have a lot of humility, and you have to have a lot of empathy for not only your fellow creators, but the people that are here checking out your stuff. This is an emotional business, and I think that when you look at it in a way in which you can be inclusive and awesome and energetic and give people a story that makes them feel good, it requires a little bit of a learning curve to understand that and get that down. And I'm really happy that I think I've gotten further along that trail. So
excellent. Where can people find your stuff?
Well, you can find Long Lost in your local comic book store. Ask if they don't have it. Ask the person who orders to check out previews and carry it. Part 2, issue 3 comes out later this month. And the trade paperback is in stores now, and that collects our first 6 issues, and it's a beautiful book, and I'd love for everyone to check it out.
Awesome. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. Good luck on the TV option.
Dude, thank you so much.
If you do get that, we're going to come back and talk to you because you'll be famous.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Take care.
John, that might be the most fascinating interview you ever gave.
You just, sure. Yeah, okay.
You gotta pick up on these things quick, man.
Yeah.
No, but there you go. So that's another one of our interviews from New York. Like, we have been really bad at getting these out. And also, with the release of this, we have a really great, fun interview with Garrett Gunn, creator of Boxmasters, which is a comic based on, what's the actor's name? Sling Blade. Billy Bob Thornton's band, basically going around fighting the devil. So it's a really kooky, horror-ish sci-fi type comic. This was a really fairly long conversation we had with him at New York Comic Con, and of course, friend of the show, Ben Goldsmith, kept chiming in and asking funny questions while we were doing the interview. So go head over to our Patreon and check that out. And of course, it'll eventually be released on the show, but for now, you can catch it on our Patreon. And that's patreon.com/superhero speak. All right. You guys have anything else you'd like to add this week?
No, I think we're good.
I really hope Hugh Jackman comes back to play Wolverine.
Just one more time?
Just one more time. Where you can hang out with Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. I need that in my life.
Okay, you know what? No, I need that in my life too. That sounds awesome.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'd rather have a younger Wolverine.
You want a young Wolverine?
Yeah, to keep it going for a while.
Wolverine was never that young old. He's never that young.
He's 100 and something.
But he doesn't look it, and Hugh Jackman's starting to look it.
Wolverine looks it. Or something.
Come on, he's getting old. Damn it.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Robert Downey, he's younger than Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Of course, you can CGI most of Robert Downey Jr.'s action. With Wolverine,
To be fair, we can CGI anybody's action now.
That is true.
Yeah, this is true.
I think most action might be CGI.
And they can CGI out the wrinkles too, can't they?
They do. But I think with Wolverine, we want the wrinkles. You want the
And I'm
going
to go back to the classic argument against Hugh Jackman. He's too damn tall.
That argument said bye-bye 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, he's been Wolverine for 18 years.
Yeah. Well, and Wolverine is supposed to look like 5 miles of bad road. I mean, that's
great. 5 miles of bad road. Oh, I like that. I've never heard that phrase before.
5 miles of bad road on ice.
Oh, nice. So good. Yeah, you just got their title one too, didn't you?
Is that something that I just don't know about?
5 miles of bad ice. No. He's mixing it up with the Wolverine on ice.
But
joke. So.
Oh, well done.
But yeah, you've never heard the expression 5 miles of bad road?
No, never heard that before.
That's an old one.
That's a cliche that didn't make its way out to the Midwest, I think.
Funny, I think it came from the Midwest. Maybe it's boomeranging back now.
Could be.
When you're as old as John.
Yes, you've heard a lot. Thank you. Yes. Absolutely.
And on that note, as John and Wolverine sit in their rocking chairs watching the sunset.
I don't have a healing factor, damn it. My knees hurt.
I'll just say, thanks for listening. And as always, don't let your cape caught in the door. Have a good week.